Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I tell you what, this has been a remarkable day in Martinsville and Henry County, and I don't want to overstate the situation that's developing on Old Well Road, but it is as close to a catastrophe as we can come in terms of a home fire. We're going to take a look at some video coming up here in just a second from 1571 Old Well Road. Now, to put this into context for you, it's pretty close to Gordon Trent Golf Course, not far from Spencer. If you're heading out towards Patrick County, then you'd be familiar with this. This is probably about 4 miles beyond the old country store, and this is an amazing scene. Now, this fire actually grew in intensity while we were covering it. So this is an amazing scene. As you can see, the home is sort of a split level. The large garage, living quarters above the garage. And there was an automotive repair shop here. You can see the address there in the lower left-hand corner. And this is raw video, folks, we're bringing you. And here you can see it bursting through the attic space there on the first floor area. Well, as it turns out, that was not the most intense portion of the blaze. Now, we don't have any word at this hour about the cause of this fire. As you can see, firefighters trying to shoot into the area they have pulled loose using axes and other tools in order to get the water into that section to prevent the fire from spreading any further. The family, I was able to speak to them at the scene, and they confirmed that everybody was okay. Now, that is a tremendous relief, but there is a serious problem getting enough water to this fire. We have heard calls go out repeatedly for pumper trucks to shuttle water in and out. They have set up what we call a containment pool or a reserve pool. Now, there you can see fire starting to jump out of the right side of the house. Keep your eyes on the basketball goal. Now, it is in front of the most intense portion of the flames that are going to begin to grow. And in just a few minutes, you're actually going to see this portion of the house collapse. An incredible tragedy here at the scene. Volunteers coming in from different units to help with this. Now, the big problem that we're seeing is heat exhaustion on the part of the firefighters. These guys and ladies are out there absolutely putting their lives on the line to try to save this home, and because of the incredible heat. And I will tell you, at the scene, about a half a mile away from the scene, it's 95 degrees. As you get closer, I'm going to estimate that the temperature is well over 110, because the heat coming off of this fire just began to wash over folks who were probably 10 to 15 yards away. They were able to bring in the pumper trucks and set up the pond, sort of a pool. And as they're drawing that water in to fight this fire, they're having to constantly replenish it. So we are seeing a lot of trucks respond to the scene. We're also starting to see rescue respond to the scene. But again, the rescue is responding to the scene to help with the firefighters who are succumbing to heat exhaustion from this blaze. Again, if you can imagine being 20 feet away from this fire. Now, here you can see the entire second story beginning to collapse in on the garage. Now, there were a number of explosions that occurred, and you're going to be able to hear a portion of that with the background audio that we've provided for you here. And there you can see some of the explosions occurring. And as those explosions began to go off, we saw even more intensity in the flame and the blaze. You could hear the glass cracking and exploding. Fire crews now have to shift from the right side of the house all of their efforts to the left side of the house. And here you can see they're repositioning the hoses. Now, at this point, the heat of the fire is at its most intolerable for these firefighters. And these folks are starting to dehydrate, or they're starting to succumb to the heat. Rescue crews are on scene at this hour. They're continuing to battle this blaze and continuing to help support the firefighters. But I will tell you that this is an absolutely amazing image. This beautiful home that you see here just collapsing in front of you. Again, I was able to speak to the family, and they said that They are all safe and sound. I'm very grateful for that fact. And at a point here, we're going to have to move our camera because an ambulance is going to be needed to move a firefighter to the hospital that had suffered from heat exhaustion. He was very close to passing out. There again, you can see the second story collapsing now on this home as it starts to just collapse under the weight of itself, and the substructure is being weakened constantly by the fire. Now, if you mark this compared to the fire that we saw at the beginning of the video, you can understand the incredible intensity with which this fire has grown. And there you can see very clearly the glass exploding from the door as this fire just continues to burn and rage. Now, there is an effort underway to make sure that the neighbors are going to be safe and that this fire is not going to spread. Given the extreme heat in these conditions, folks, we've just got to do everything possible to make sure this fire is contained. Now, we have moved locations at this point in the video so that the rescue squad can evacuate that firefighter. And I will tell you that with 95-degree ambient temperature outside, it is getting even hotter there close to the blaze. Now, multiple units are coming in. They've rallied all of the volunteer firefighters from around the area. There, more of the house collapsing. As you can see, the subfloor burning. Now the second story almost completely demolished from this. We're going to change perspectives one more time to show you the professionalism of our volunteer and professional firefighting crews, because they are going to break out the big guns here in just a minute to try to knock this fire down. The problem is that when they put enough water on this blaze to try and get it back under control, they quickly deplete the pond with which they are using to bring the water to that fire. So those hoses are stretched probably a quarter of a mile to the containment pond, which is having to be constantly replenished. And again, this is occurring on Old Well Road in Spencer. This is about 4 miles beyond the Old Country Store, a place that has already seen tragedy today. 2 tragedies in Spencer, Virginia today. And now we're seeing this fire burning out of control. And again, in just a second, we're going to show you absolute remarkable piece of technology that firefighters are going to be using to try to battle this blaze. We are now just off to the left of the house, near the driveway. There again, you can see more of the house collapsing. Now, this is where they broke out the big guns, and they're trying to simply saturate and completely knock this fire down. Again, one of the problems with this technique, unfortunately, is that they are quickly depleting their water source, so they have to use this very strategically in order to prevent that fire from growing even larger than it already is. Just an amazing scene there. Old Well Road in Spencer, not far from the Patrick County line, where that fire continues to burn at this hour, and the word continues to go out for more volunteers, more pumper trucks, and more people to bring water to this fire. In addition, rescue crews being summoned to help deal with the heat exhaustion that firefighters are suffering at this hour, and other minor injuries. But again, we can tell you the family is safe and sound. They are on the scene. They were about a half a mile away from this location, gathered together, obviously very grateful for their own safety, but obviously mourning the tremendous loss. And there you can see the water running out. So they're going to continue to work on this one. We're going to continue to keep you updated. Make sure you stay tuned to BTW 21.